There we go. What's up? There we go. Yeah, so it is live. What's up, everybody? Welcome. My name is the Crypto Analyst, otherwise known as Brendan TCA. Welcome, everybody, to the Crypto Analyst live stream. Tonight, we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and several of the altcoins. Of course, taking your guys' requests, doing some technical analysis on it, answering your guys' questions, and diving on really on into this, because this is a tight time for Bitcoin as we enter into another squeeze. The stakes rise and people start getting antsy, and I guess that's really why we're doing this here. So if you guys are enjoying the live stream, and if you do enjoy this and you're watching it back, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out a lot. Drop a comment on the comment section down below, because that's one of the ways that we can help get this video out to more people and help more people that way. So welcome, everybody. I want to give everybody a second to join in here. I got to actually fix my other monitors so that I can read chat and other things like that, and we can move on through here. Welcome, Sean, Jalen, and Matt. Great to have you guys in here. I was going to ask who Sean was, but you've already answered my question. Of course, I know the great Jalen. Matt, welcome. Good old soy. Dude, I'll tell you what, Sean, I've been ridiculously busy. And it's probably going to be like that for at least another week or two. I'm taking 3 extra courses right now. Not like college courses. So I'm taking 3 extra college courses at the moment, and they're 8 weeks long, so they're hyper condensed. But after the 8 weeks that I'm taking them, it'll be a super leisure schedule, and I'm looking to live stream probably like 4 times a week. What's up, Matt? It is indeed an exciting time. It is. Because, I mean, if we look at this thing's getting squeezed, right? I've been saying that it's going to get squeezed in here, and it has, and now that it's actually playing out, things are starting to get juicy, because the more this gets squeezed, personally I believe the breakout's going to be greater, because what you're doing is you're actually just condensing all of this pressure into this area. And so with this getting condensed more, it's like a volcano, right? You're just kind of building up more and more pressure the more that this gets condensed. So when I'm looking at this, I actually have the Bollinger Bands. I don't think I've ever used the Bollinger Bands on stream, but they're out on today because I had an indicator that I don't have permission to show on stream, and so I figured I would just take it off and put one on that I guess I can show on stream. So what's up, Randy? Welcome. Know how that is. I'm about to get my bachelor's, taking 8-week classes. It's brutal, I'm telling you. The 8-week courses, because I have a couple residential classes, and then I have a couple 8-week online, and they just add up very fast. So I want to give everyone a second to join in here before we start diving into this too heavy. But the concept of tonight, well, it is a little bit conflicting. It's a relatively simple night. There's nothing that's really too crazy for the most part. There is a little bit of like hidden divergence that we can talk about here in a little bit. But I want to go ahead and highlight some of the main things. I actually need to reset this guy. And one thing I really want to point out is the RSI, because the RSI I think is a great indicator at the moment. I got to delete some of these things. I've been doing filming for the technical analysis course, which has been going great. The videos take a long time. Some of the videos are like over 30 minutes long, and that's been going great. So if you guys see anything that's like extra on here or something that's not usually there, it's probably from me filming that course. So if you guys see like random lines like there was just down in here, it's probably what it's from. But okay, so let's go ahead and dive on into this. Now that people are, I guess, starting to join in here, anybody who is rewatching this can go ahead and rewind. So we'll give it another 30 seconds. We'll give it to 8 minutes, and then we'll start this thing. But the things that I've been looking at lately, I took out of my trade over here, right? I shorted this down pretty well. I think it ended at 103% profit from no, it was an Ethereum short. But basically it was the same thing. It was the same drop, just Ethereum's more volatile than Bitcoin. So it was around 103% gain on the short. And then I exited, and then since then I haven't been trading in this level. You kind of had a piercing candle slash bear trap. And ever since then, I really just didn't want to trade this area. Now, it did come back up. I did mention I think in Discord and in Patreon that this would be like a super safe area to long, and it was, and of course it went back up, hit the 50, came back down, touched support again, came back up, hit the 50 again, and now we're getting rejected. So I want to go ahead and break down why exactly this is kind of good and bad, right? I want to talk about what's actually currently happening instead of recapping what's happened, right? We all know that there's a giant pennant and a falling wedge. That's something I've talked about in my last video, but let's go ahead and talk about what's actually happened in the current price action of Bitcoin instead of just what's been happening over the past, because it's a lot easier to do a past analysis than it is to do a future analysis and expecting and predicting what's going to happen. Now, I would advise everyone that if you are trying to learn technical analysis, go back and do past technical analysis. It's one of the easiest ways to learn. It's something that I did a lot. But if I'm looking at this over here, I kind of zoomed in a little bit too much. The one thing that I'm noticing over here is that the 50 EMA on our 4-hour is getting respected pretty well. Now that we came back up here, we got rejected, came back, touched support pretty well, wicked back up, got rejected from 50 EMA again, which is just a couple of hours ago, and now we're kind of balancing in this area, kind of towards the top of this falling wedge, looking to break out now. So the volume was falling off. It looked like it was starting to pick back up now, or at least even out. I would imagine, I mean, it kind of looks like it's trying to pick itself back up over here. I'd like to see this happen on a daily chart, but the volume actually has not been doing too bad in the recent time action. But the one thing, again, what I'm looking for over here is for this 50 to break. I think that the 50 is going to be a big area over here, and your Bollinger Bands are, Bollinger Bands are getting pretty tight. So when I'm looking in this area, they're not too tight, right? They're nothing too crazy, but for the most part, these are pretty, it's a relatively tight Bollinger Band from what we're used to seeing. So when I'm looking at this again, I'm looking for a breakout pretty soon here. If you guys don't remember what the Bollinger Band looks like up here, they were literally, like, again, when the Bollinger Bands get this tight, something's going to happen. You can see, because over here, of course, you can barely see them. Actually, let's actually look at this guy. Hold up. I actually kind of want to compare the Bollinger Bands in this area to what the Bollinger Bands were in this area. So you can see that in this, let's go ahead and highlight this so you guys can actually see. Because over in here, they were actually getting squeezed, and over here, we're actually getting squeezed. And I think both of these were because that we were riding right along resistance. Now, in this case, it came up and actually had a massive breakdown. But over in this one, we could actually be looking to see something that's a little bit of the opposite. The only thing that scares me in this area, and something that I've said a million times before, is that the trend is your friend. And even though this is a bullish continuation and formation pattern, I still have my doubts, right? Just because this thing is struggling so hard to break out of this zone that I'm beginning to get a little bit nervous, because what you have is you have this bottom rally over here, and it actually got rejected twice now from your 50 EMA. And so with having two breakouts from this area that's so close to resistance, and really at the end of this, at the end of this falling wedge, can't even speak, at the end of this falling wedge's life, now that we're actually looking to break out, we're still failing. So that's what has me a little bit nervous about this area. Let me go ahead and read through comments a little bit here. Sean says, how is that? How? I got you. I'm about to get back to my bachelor's. I think I already read through that one. Is it Hidden Dragon or Crouching Tiger? We appreciate you streaming. Hashtag College Life. Yeah, I agree, Jalen. It's College Life's insane. Yo, Paul, welcome from Australia. Thanks for your work. I appreciate it, Paul. It means a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being in here. Yeah, college is insane, Jalen. It's a waste of my time, to be honest. But if I'm going for free, I guess there's really no point. So I can't complain, right? If it's free, then I mean, I'll take a free, I guess, diploma from a university. But it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's just such a waste of time still. Anyway, let's go ahead and break down some of these indicators and oscillators. Currently, on our 4-hour, we're looking at bearish divergence on our MACD. Pretty evident and pretty clear. This thing looks like it's about to just, well, actually, it doesn't. Yeah, so this thing looks like it's about to round off over here on your MACD, on your 4-hour MACD. So with this getting ready to round off, we're going to take a look at this 2-hour. Yeah, so our 2-hour is already rounding off, so this is how I know. If you guys are ever confused as to whether it's rounding off or not, just cut your time scale in half, and it should be a pretty easy fix. But moving back to our 4-hour, now that we know that the 2 hours rounding off, we can say, okay, the odds are this is going to start rounding off. And what this would do is actually set us down for double bearish divergence on our MACD. And I could expect these things to start rounding towards the downside again. The good news is that I don't see this as too bearish of a situation. For something that we're looking at on the candle charts, I I really don't see this as too bearish of a situation. You know, maybe we do come back down and touch this 3100 zone or the 3200 zone that everyone's talking about right now, but I feel like there are just too many, you know, there's too many people calling wolf in this scenario, and there's too many people calling dump. And that's all I see, is that when I go onto YouTube or anywhere, all I'm seeing is get ready for the next crypto dump. We're heading down to 1800 or whatever the number is. Everyone's just talking about how Bitcoin's going to dump. And I've mentioned this numerous times before, but the more people are leaned one way, I lean towards the other, because the majority is almost always wrong in cryptocurrency, especially in the world of like Bitcoin. So when people are calling for like 50K Bitcoin, it's generally a good idea or generally a safe bet that it's not going to go to 50K. The opposite is true as well when you're looking at Bitcoin and everyone's saying that's going to go to 1800K or $1,800. It's probably not going to go there as well. And so that's what I want you guys to know, because everyone's been so used to hearing that Bitcoin's going to go to 50K, Bitcoin's going to go 100K at the beginning of 2017. And none of those predictions came true, but every YouTuber, every analyst was talking about it, right? Bitcoin's going to break all-time high. It's going to go to $25,000. Everyone's heard that whole argument before, about a year ago. But they don't think to compare the flip side of that. Well, what happens when instead of everyone saying that it's going to go to 50K, everyone's saying that it's going to go lower and lower and lower? It's the exact same thing happening that we had a year ago. Instead of everyone being bullish, it's the cool thing to be bearish. And that's what I want to kind of emphasize here, is that while I am bearish when I need to be bearish, I'm ultimately a bull on cryptocurrency and on Bitcoin. And so when I'm looking at this and I see literally just everywhere I go, I see we're going to go down to 1800, 1000, sub 1000, whatever it may be, 2500. Whenever I keep seeing all these videos, I'm progressively getting more and more bullish, because despite seeing everyone talk about something, it just makes me think it's not going to happen. Because if you are a market maker, or if you are manipulating the market, it's really not hard to realize that everyone's saying it's going to go to a relative, I don't know what the word would be, a relative range down here. So if you're a market maker and you're saying, all right, well, everyone's calling that it's going to go into this area, all you're thinking is, well, let's just make it not do that, right? Let's wreck some shorts and we can reverse this thing. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I just want you guys to know the flip side of the argument, and that when everyone was calling for 50K, it never happened. And now everyone's calling for like 1800, and I'm not sure it's going to happen, for the sole reason that every single person is calling for it. Not literally, and it's not financial advice, but think about it, right? Just think about it for a second. I don't know much about TA, but I believe crypto or Bitcoin TA is still young to determine. How do you feel about the rose pattern from Warrior Trading? I don't watch Warrior Trading, unfortunately, but I would love to know more about it. I'm wondering your opinion is on Holochain. Do you think it can keep running? HOT, that one was skyrocketing last time I checked it. Jeez. Oh, look at this. It broke out really well. Nice following. Who did we talk about this to? Who did we talk? We did this not too long ago. Well, there's the breakout from the falling wedge. Way past the measure to move. So, respect the TA. This is one of those ones that I looked at and I was like, listen, I don't know what to tell you. It's a low market cap altcoin. It's not worth a lot. It's going to be super hard to do TA of. And I looked at it and I said, all right, listen, if you want one thing out of this, it could be a falling wedge, and I guess that would make it bullish. And it broke out. But this is a low market cap altcoin, so like anything can happen. The one thing I do want to stress is that when you were asking about, and we'll get into the Bitcoin indicators and oscillators in 1 second, I do want to talk about this because it does bring up some important points. And that is that since this is technically above all resistance, the sky is the limit at this point. And if you're looking to the left, there's absolutely nothing, there's absolutely nothing over in here. So resistance-wise, all it really has to do is beat what's previously over here. Now, personally, I think this thing is probably done with its run. From the looks of it, and we can take a look at some stuff like this, it's showing It's definitely showing exhaustion from this level, and it looks like it's getting ready to reverse. I have the hiccups. But that's not necessarily the worst thing. Yeah, so definite exhaustion from this range. I think that it can definitely bounce over here, but I think for the most part, I think that this will be the peak for this guy, and that it'll start heading back down here and recovering. Now, levels that it can recover at would, you know, maybe be around 20 Satoshis in my opinion. Maybe a little bit more, maybe around 25. But I think for the most part of this guy, or maybe in the previous peak, so yeah, maybe about 25 Satoshis. But I think for the most part that this guy is going to come back down a little bit more and start bleeding, because it dumps and then it bleeds, and it hasn't even entered the bleeding phase yet. So I would just be careful in this range. Again, not financial advice, but this does look like it has topped for me, at least in the short term. It could, you know, obviously break this point again, but looking at the 1 day and the 4 hour, it just looks like it's having exhaustion and the bulls are running out of breath. So anyway, back to BTC. Let's look at this guy. So yeah, actually we already covered the MACD, the RSI. Let's talk about this one. What are you guys saying? I hope one day to a trend-setting trader. I hope one day to a trend-setting trader in a BCT. I'm not sure what you said, Jalen. I hope one day to a trend-setting trader in the BTC technical analysis. Say it one more time for me. That's so true. Thank you, Strawn. Jalen said, I sold most of my hollow. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like it's peaked. I can't tell you guys where to trade it, but if I personally owned it, which I don't, but if I did, I would have probably taken profits. Literally everyone is thinking 2K. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point. If we're being honest, this is going to be compressed and consolidate until the next bull run. It's very possible. We're definitely near the bottom. I agree. So that's another thing I want to stress, is that I definitely do think that we're near the bottom when I'm looking at this. From the signs of this, and we can break this down on larger time scales, this definitely looks like it is getting ready, and it's approaching the bottom more so than anything. And I think the best way to tell that is things like volume and oscillators, and indicators, excuse me, because this is what's really signifying to me that these things are getting ready to bottom out. And I think the 1 week was the best indicator of that. Yeah, so I think someone just walked into my house. So the best way to see this over here is, of course, just seeing lower levels of negative momentum on your weekly chart, which is one of the biggest things for me. Now, while your oscillators are still pretty deep and they're still at a new low, I wouldn't say that's too worrisome, because instead, if you guys know oscillators, they generally make pretty harsh moves. Like you guys can see, for the most part, they're mainly sharp points when they turn around. With this being a rounding formation over here, that tends to make me think that this is, again, just having a hard time in the bearish zone, and that this is getting ready to push back up into the bullish zone. So when I'm looking at my weekly chart, again, all I'm seeing over here is consistently lower levels of bearish momentum upon each swing low. And I hope that's made clear, because again, this is one of the clear indicators for me. And you can do the same thing on your RSI. Well, not really. So yeah, this was our bull run over here, 2018. This would actually be better looked at. This would actually be better looked at from a 3-day. Oh, that's a 3 hour. Maybe even the 1 day. I mean, you can honestly still see the same thing over here. This is a 3-day chart, so it's pretty significant for your RSI. Higher low still over here. You're making consistent higher lows ever since November, and you're in the oversold territory. Moving this to a 1-day chart. Where is our... Oh, never mind. That was on our 4 hour. Yikes. Wrong chart. Anyway, 1-day chart, same thing. Consistent higher lows. Not too much to be said. I think, again, the MACD is the big thing over here, because while the MACD is a lagging indicator, I actually want to look at the 1 month as well and see what this is like. And there it is. So I would say the 1 month actually looks like it's ready to round off. If you guys don't see this, The 1 month actually looks like it's going to start trying here to round off on your MACD, which is pretty significant. And your RSI is saying the same thing. Your RSI is trying to round off on your 1 month. So I wouldn't take that lightly when you're looking at some of these larger timescales and what's happening. You know, think about it. It's nothing too complex over here. And while we did have bullish exhaustion over here and just straight failure, and that's why we came back down in November, you know, it looks like we're rounding off on our 1 weeks and 1 months. So larger timescale stuff, I don't know how I got onto that rant, but just, yeah, acknowledge it. Don't be afraid to look at larger timescales. Have you tried comparing the period before the last bull run? Probably have. I might have misread it. Yeah, so I have. I've done a historical analysis on BTC from 2014 to 2018, and I compared the two bull runs and the bear markets, and that's why I have a lot of the belief that I do. And the retrace from the 2014 bear market is exactly where we reached on our, it was 1% off. I think it was 1% off from where we are right now. But for the most part, I think it was like 78% or 85% or something like that. And this one was like 1% above or below that. And so the retrace is spot on if this is the bottom. And the way that it works, I've done a couple of videos on it, so I don't want to go too in depth right now because you can just look back up. Again, I've done a couple of videos on it. But although the market has changed, it is a market cycle. And that is something that relatively stays similar. So the way that this most likely will reverse is a slow consolidation process before it actually reverses. I don't think that this reversal process is going to be something where we just like break out from this thing like we're just, you know, shooting all up again. I don't think that that's what's going to happen here. I talked about that before, and I try to emphasize that because there are still people who think that we're going to do this. And I've talked to people, again, a lot of people, and if you guys remember Phil, the guy who's made all these crazy freaking Bitcoin predictions, he doesn't think that that's going to happen either. Even though he's predicting that we're going to hit like $200,000 in the next like 5 years, his charts are not just bear market, then bull market. Something that he had that everyone looked over is that over the course of 2019, he had a very kind of steady consolidation market where it picked up towards the end a little bit and we were able to touch like 7,000. But for the most part, guys, his charts weren't anything crazy, right? It wasn't just break out of this thing and shoot back up to 7K. It takes an entire year for us to move $4,000 back up. Now, that after that point, I think it would be a bull market and then things could really start mooning again. But for the next year or so, I don't think we're going to see just these explosions from things going from like a $1 XRP to $5 or like a Bitcoin going from 4,000 to 30,000. I don't think that is what we're going to see over the course of 2019. Where's my drink? Looks to me like there's a lot of USDT, otherwise known as Tether, ready to inject into BTC and the altcoins. Do you see some potential bullishness from the Tether holders? Not yet. To be honest, no. In other words, particular group may begin accumulating. So the Tether holders are an interesting class of people, and I don't mean to be rude to anybody who is a Tether holder, but when you talk about these guys are I don't know how to describe it. Like, they lock funds up in Tether for the most part. You have people who just lock stuff in Tether and they say, tell me when the bull market's here. And that's what's something that, I don't know, that in itself is just a weird concept to me. I never held things in Tether for a long time. I think it's kind of risky because it's, you know, there's a lot of shade behind it. I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but like the people who lock their stuff up in Tether, I don't feel like they're just ready to dump everything. They are not secure enough in this current state to inject all their Bitcoin back. Now, some of them might be dollar cost averaging back in, but I think a lot of the Tether is still there. And if we go and we look at coin market cap, where is Tether? Yeah, so Tether is still the sixth most popular cryptocurrency by market cap. That's ridiculous. Tether never used to be close to 6. So there's still a ton of freaking money into Tether right now, because a lot of people still are tethered. In other words, oh yeah, Tron is climbing the ranks. Yeah, I've been talking about how in my top 10 cryptocurrency video of what I'm holding, I talked about how Tron's actually been picking up their game here, and they've been doing a substantial job of improving their company. And they've actually been doing, again, a really good job at promoting and improving. So I really like what Tron's been doing. That's why they're still on my list. Let us take a look at Ethereum to the US dollar. Actually, I want to draw up a couple things here. Jeez, dude, this chart is something else. It's crazier than Bitcoin's. I actually want to look at this on a 1 day real fast, because there's like, okay, so take this with a grain of salt here, but there's a chance that Ethereum could have bottomed. And I was just looking at this chart and it just kind of hit me. Let's explain. So with this guy, maybe I need to switch this back to a 4 hour. With the way that this is looking over here, and the way that this candle chart's forming, if this doesn't like necessarily tank anytime soon, like I think, you know, personally, Ethereum kind of looks like it could have bottomed. The way that this is kind of just being like this rounding formation and consolidation, this pattern over here of like, let me just see if I can kind of emphasize this, but this pattern over here of kind of just like pennant drop, pennant drop, pennant drop. And let's explain. So this pattern of like pennant drop, another one, pennant, pennant drop, right? Same deal. Over here, this one's not even that close. This one's not even that much like a pennant, but you can kind of still see the same deal going on over in here. Pennant drop. So when I'm looking at this is kind of breaking the norm of what I'm looking at over here. This looks like it's more of like a rounding bottom formation rather than it's this steep price contraction and getting squeezed. I just see this. This does not look like these guys at all. This looks like it's a potential bottom formation, and when I was looking over to the left of this chart, it was actually kind of making sense. And because of the fact that we did hit, like we honestly did hit a pretty good level of support, and I would be perfectly satisfied if this was the bottom because of this area of consolidation over in here, highlighting our bottom, which again would make sense. The next zone would probably be around like $50 for Ethereum. So we'll see. If this does break, probably a $50 Ethereum. But if it doesn't, you know, this looks like it's a good solid zone of where it actually could have bottomed out realistically. And yeah, anyway, that just kind of caught my eye. So sorry if that was super ADD, but I looked at that for a second and I just thought this kind of looks like a reversal. And I was checking over here to make sure it kind of made sense. And anyway, long story short, this caught my eye out of nowhere and potential reversal. We'll see. Looking at Ethereum on a smaller time scale here, looking at the current price action of Ethereum and what's happening, I'm noticing, again, a little bit of bearish divergence. And on our RSI, while it is sitting neutral, I would still say it's a little bit bearish as well. And this is where it gets kind of hard, because you're looking at Ethereum and it's actually getting rejected from the same exact resistance line that we've been using for so long now. And it you know, kind of reached the upper levels of the Bollinger Band, tried to get close to the 50 EMA, got rejected from both of those, got close to resistance, got rejected from that. Maybe it can come up and retest, maybe it'll even break out, but for the current time being, it kind of looks like it's going to come back down towards support a little bit, and maybe try rallying, maybe come into like a heartline zone of this thing. But let me see if I can grab this guy. Sorry if I'm ignoring comments as well. I definitely ignored a lot of comments there. I'm like laser focused tonight. I want to make sure I have this drawn up properly. And something I actually also want to do is connect this guy as a support. So now we have support. Can we draw an overbearing resistance here? Maybe. Maybe something like this. Or even better, probably do something on a smaller time scale. And do something like this. Oh, that works way freaking better. Alright. So let's talk about this guy. Good old Ethereum. Here is just a beautiful example of resistance. Riding this thing all the way. Look how many times. This thing got rejected like at least 10-15 candles in this area up here. Came back down here. It's still getting rejected. And I wonder if we can even make this tighter. Like, ideally, I guess you would have wanted it to have like this, but adjust that slightly. So yeah, I think you could probably leave this guy here and say that this was former resistance that's connecting over into this area and it's still playing out. And until this is broken, I really don't want to ignore it because, I mean, look at the amount of candle rejections it had up in this area, and it hasn't really been retested since. Actually, it was retested once and it got rejected over in here. Let's turn off the Bollinger Band so we can see this guy a little better. So again, rejected over in here. I think we're still getting rejected over in here. And we'll have to see if it keeps playing out. But nothing too crazy. I mean, these charts really aren't too crazy tonight. One day looks bullish, and the one day RSI looks very indecisive. See, this is where it gets hard because on your RSI, when I'm looking at this, I see consistent levels of lower positive momentum. Consistently, like all the way over in here. And so ideally, you would want to have your RSI a little bit further down, probably somewhere around, probably even lower, probably somewhere around like this area before it rallied back up towards the upside. Now, if it was in this area, I would be very, very bullish on Ethereum. Probably longing it, in all honesty. But it's not. It's just above this area enough to where I don't want to long it. Even when looking at the one-day MACD, right? Showing pretty clear bullish divergence. So that's a little bit frustrating. And sometimes you get in situations like this where it's not a perfect trade. And you kind of just have to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, dang. That's so unfortunate. The overall sentiment of this market, though, right now is, from the looks of it, I mean, it kind of looks like it's trying so desperately. Very weak. And I know people are going to be... people are going to probably not like that I'm saying this, but it looks like the market itself is trying to reverse here. Maybe people will love to hear that, but I know every other YouTuber is going to be like, oh, freaking idiot, you know. But looking at this, I mean, realistically, this thing looks like it's trying to reverse. Now, this is Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. And I want to take a look at XRP as well. Ooh. Oh, this guy. Oh, perfect. Oh my god. We have so much TA to cover in this. Let's go. Alright, so support, resistance. Resistance very clear. I want to turn off the Bollinger Band so we can see this clearly. Seeing this very clearly, okay, obvious levels of resistance over in here. This never works for me. Over in here, over in here, over in here. Obviously here, there, and there. And something I want to highlight, of course, on support, we can draw like a million arrows over in here. But let's go ahead and do this. one guy, one guy, one guy, one guy. So there's our supports, and maybe we can do the same thing for our resistances so it's not so sloppy, but you guys get the bigger picture. There's obviously a ton of touches on support, obviously a load of touches on resistance, way more touch points on resistance than support, but you still have 4 touch points on support. I mean, it's pretty viable, it's pretty strong for the most part. You have a little bit of piercing action towards the bottom, but the one thing I really wanted to highlight, because this is something I just covered in my TA course that I was just filming, is that with this being former support over here on, this is a 1 day. Let's go and look at this on a 4 hour. So this is previous support on our 4 hour chart. You see touch point over in here, touch point over in here, touch point over in here, broke down through it, used it as resistance in here, and then broke up, got rejected from your 200 EMA, and then came back down and got rejected from this heart line again. So what was previously support is now getting used as resistance. And this is one of the things I teach in my technical analysis course very, very deeply, very well, and very, thought through. So now that we actually came back and used this guy down here, broke below it, rejected it, came back up, broke up, now we're using it as support again. So highlight this because, again, this is a great tool for learning. I mean, XRP is just a clean chart right now. This thing actually looks not bad at all. Look at this. This is just showing that there is like no bearish volume in this area. This to me would be a clear example of bearish exhaustion. And that's so strange because of the fact that it just rallied so largely up towards the upside. And another thing that this is highlighting to me is that when I'm looking at this and this broke, for the very short amount of time that this broke support, the buying pressure below support was so high, that's what caused this spike in the Ethereum price action, right? Support, 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 broke through support, immediately bought back up. We're talking in like a 1 day. This is like a 1 day candle here. Immediately bought back up from 28 cents to like 34, 35 cents. All because the buying pressure below its support line was so high. And you're seeing the exact same thing on Bitcoin right now. When you're looking at the chart, you're seeing that when it had the breakdown below support, the buying pressure down there was so high, it caused it to spike back up as well. Now, not quite like this. This was like a 15% spike or something like that. But, the same deal goes. Need something to drink. I'm sorry, guys. I have been neglecting chat. What's up, chat? What are you guys saying over here? Someone says, say what? Yo, could we take a look at QLC? Absolutely, we can. So overall, I would say, guys, the fact that this is actually, this 4 hour candle, we highlighted it again, it's actually using it as support again. So let that be known. And it's also holding above the 50 EMA as we speak. So doesn't look too bad to me. I mean, nothing. Yeah, it just doesn't look too bad. Your RSI isn't the best, but like for having one crazy run, it should look a whole lot worse than it actually is, but it doesn't. I already see descending triangle formations happening. So we got ourselves a Binance coin on our hands. And this looks like it's trying to set up a descending triangle. Maybe you can say it's like doing like a pennant maybe, but from the looks of it, it kind of looks like it's setting up a descending triangle to me. And I want to highlight this guy by doing this. You can see that this is really just like a flat area of support all around this blue line, just again flat area of support. Not necessarily the best thing to have because you're just gonna keep exhausting this the more you're riding it. In the short term though, if this doesn't break down, you could probably have a target towards your 50 EMA and over on resistance. Again, not financial advice in any way, but if this doesn't fall through here soon, I would imagine it pushes the top of the descending triangle and probably doing like some sort of price action like this, and then coming back down and probably falling through. So in the short term, I mean, yeah, it looks pretty. It has double bearish divergence over here. Doesn't look too bad. But your MACD is again looking not the best. So I would just be careful. I would say again in the short term it could have some upside, but be careful when you're looking at this. Be careful that a descending triangle doesn't form, because if it does, probably not the best chance. Because if you're looking over here to the left of where it's actually going to get some support, I think that you really only have like two areas. You have this guy and you have this guy. So be careful with this. Not financial advice, but if for educational purposes, I would watch out and see if this could form a descending triangle in this area. And if it does, cool. Then you know what's going to happen. You know what's probable of what's going to happen. But if it doesn't, then look for higher prices, right? Had a great run recently. Let's go back to the BTC. Guys, I took a nap today and I'm still exhausted. I don't know why. Again, college has just been kicking my butt. I see dumping. Benny Martinez. Martinez? Is that how you say it? Well, first of all, welcome, Benny. Great to have you in here. And two, I do like to look at things that are going to dump. So we have Icon that's about to dump to the US dollar tether. Oh my gosh. I am glad you call this guy out. I can't leverage trade it, and I really wish I could short this, because it really looks like it's about to dump. Agreed. So one of two things can happen over here, and I'm really glad that you pointed this out. So one of two things can happen in this area. Option number one, it forms a descending triangle and this thing just dumps to hell. Like it has, yeah. So last time it broke its previous low, and it had a great support line too. Last time it broke its previous low, this thing dumped off a cliff. It's about to break its previous low again, and there is absolutely nothing over here to catch it. So the only point that this thing will stop dumping is when people are saying, all right, I feel comfortable buying this thing in the masses because it should never reach whatever X, Y, and Z price of this is. So option one, it breaks this line, it breaks this kind of descending triangle, and it dumps. Option two is that this is bottomed. And this can be a way that things can bottom out ever so slightly over in here, and it would be a great longing opportunity if it is. And it'll probably stick somewhere probably between like this area of price action, probably more specifically somewhere in like this area of price action if it's bottomed. I probably have like some sideways movement capitulation type deal before reversing its market completely and start conquering some higher prices. Now, if this thing does have a higher breakout, I would immediately be looking to a couple levels. First off, this level over here and here at around 25 cents. Well, probably immediately, probably like 23 cents, then 25 cents, then somewhere around 29 cents, probably conquering 32 cents, then up here to around 42, 43 cents, and anything past that is like too much in any kind of short-term target for me. So if this, again, two options. This thing's about to dump off a cliff, or it's bottomed out, and we'll see. You look like you're picking up volume too. So, I mean, your volume's not like it's garbage. Your volume's actually pretty good. Your volume's picking up right now. And your MACD RSI, double bullish divergence on your MACD. Your oscillators are saying triple. And your RSI is telling me bullish divergence. So, I mean, you had very hard bearish divergence on your RSI. This was made super freaking clear. This guy over in here, very clear bearish divergence. Consistent lower highs, running out of bullish momentum, lower levels of positive momentum flowing into this upon every single swing high over here. You can tell from your RSI wicks, very clear bearish divergence at the time. But looking at this over here, I'm seeing, oh, so that's really bad. Looking over here, I'm really seeing the opposite. I'm seeing now that you had this play out, you kind of look like you're ready to, and I guess you could say this was your initial launch to why you reached up here, and now that this is formed, I think you're probably going to start reversing this guy in another formation over in here. So I don't want that to be too confusing, but I think that although you did have this guy up in here, I think you're about to start forming something over in this range, and we'll leave it over in here. As to say, and I want to move that up just a little bit, as to say you're going to start forming higher lows on your RSI as well. And you're still higher low than over in here. So it's not in the worst place. It could be a lot worse. Now, if this RSI was like, if this guy was up in this range, I would be like, this thing's about to go straight off a cliff. And if it was over here, I mean, your MACD looks like it's about to set up for double bearish divergence. It's currently in like double to triple bullish divergence, but in the short term over here, it looks like it's about to reverse, and it looks like it's about to be bearish. So be careful with this, because really one of two options. This thing bottoms out, and you're probably in the best buying opportunity that you'll ever reach this thing at. Or option two is that it dumps off a cliff. So if I wanted to purchase Icon in this area, or what were we saying? I monitor crypto using Total on TradingView. I compare crypto market to U.S. oil and gold. Nice. All right. I've actually never heard of people doing that. That's actually really cool, Benny. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. I use multicoincharts.com to see many of the charts at once. You're sharp, bro. Yo, thank you so much, Benny. Really means a lot. Yeah, no, yeah, so your encouragement, kind words mean a lot, dude. But when I'm looking at this, again, you really pray that it holds this support line, and if it doesn't, Benny, then the one thing that I'm looking at here is that if I want the best buying opportunity that I could potentially ever get in this coin, what I would do is probably buy in this area and then just like set a type stop loss, right? You know, set a type stop loss here, and if this breaks support, you set a tight, you set a tight stop loss in this area. Maybe, okay, so this is where it gets hard. So you have to choose the stop loss for yourself if you want to do this. Again, nothing I say is financial advice. You can set it right below this trend line so that if it breaks the trend line and breaks your previous low, maybe it dumps off a cliff there, or maybe it double bottoms down here. So this is what I would have to decide for myself if I wanted to set a stop loss in this area. Is that would I want to set it below the double bottom area, the previous low over here? Right? Would I want to set my stop loss down in here so it's below the previous low? Or do I want to set it below the trend line over here? So that's something I would have to decide if I want to take this buying opportunity on Icon. And that's up to you, you know, well, I can't say it's up to you because nothing I say is financial advice. But if you're looking at this again, the potential for a buying opportunity in this range, risk versus reward, could be worth it. Now, I am a little bit nervous that it could be forming some sort of descending triangle formation, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's all about risk versus reward. That's like the name of the game. So I would be watching, if I were an Icon investor, I would be watching this very closely because I think a large move in Icon's about to happen. Layer your buys here to smoothly. Sean says layer your buys from here to the monthly 50. And you'll have some great RR. 15 cents. Lol. 15 cents. That's way down in here. Yeah, I mean, maybe if it breaks this, it'll go to 15 cents, to be honest. That'd be brutal. That'd be a brutal fall from here. You'd be losing a quarter of your value. More, yeah, maybe more than that. So you'd be losing about a quarter of your value if you dumped from here to 15. So that'd be really hard. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Benny, I don't know why. I feel like I know you from somewhere, Benny. I don't know why. The name Benny Martinez sounds really familiar to me. Discord or something. Oh, sorry. All right. Stepped away for a minute. No worries. I want to look at the daily volume real fast. The one thing I mean, your daily, actually, hold up. Oh, your daily volume's picking back up here. Huh. I think that says all the more. I mean, wow. Look at this from a daily chart. Let's talk about this for a second. So this is Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin on the one-day chart. Benny goes, no, you don't know me. Seriously, guys, look at the previous bull runs and the NASDAQ. Very similar to the cease pattern. Whew. So the one thing I want to highlight on this area is that, of course, this falling wedge looks amazing, first of all. I mean, on the one-day chart, this thing looks freaking incredible. And if I was looking at this from a one-day chart, I mean, this thing, again, it looks freaking amazing. You're rounding on your oscillators. Your MACD looks absolutely freaking phenomenal. And your RSI looks really good, too. So the more actually, I look at this from a one-day chart, and this thing looks like it's about to freaking take off. So, not sure why everyone's calling bear, but from a one-day's perspective of this coin, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it gets maybe it gets rejected here, but again, I'm seeing, I feel like a lot of the people who are saying all this stuff are just bandwagoning. Like, there's nothing that's too bearish about this. The worst thing I see about this breakdown recently is that you're below $3,500. And I was talking to someone in Discord about this today. I think it was Soy or Otter. But the worst thing about this is that you're below 3,500 to, oops, that's not it, to like 3,550. So this range right in here is I think the most important one. The 3,500 to the 3,550 range is a crucial range for Bitcoin. And the fact that it's underneath that is probably the most bearish thing for me. And you also are underneath some like fib retracements and stuff like that we can talk about, but oops. But like this in itself, like this is not the most, people are being more bearish than they should. That's the point that I'm trying to get out here, is that people are being bandwagony and way more bearish than they should be in this area. And the fact that everyone's talking about how bearish this is shows me how little a lot of people know. And I'm not trying to get, if you guys know, I'm not a permabull. Like the last, like, in the past 3 months, like 90% of my video content has been bearish. So this is one of the few times where I'm actually looking at Bitcoin and saying, this is probably the best chance at a bullish breakout that we've had in months. You know, ignoring this guy in here, right? Because that was another falling wedge. We can chart that guy up very easily. Another falling wedge, which looks, again, great. There we go. So another falling wedge over in here, which broke out beautifully. You know, really, no matter how, it's kind of hard to draw on the let's break this down on the 4 hour. It's too hard to draw on the daily. So here we go. That looks a whole lot better. So looking at this from a 4 hour, again, a very clear falling wedge over here. You can ignore some of these wicks and include this guy instead and adjust this a little bit accordingly. But really, again, no matter how you want to draw this, the way that this forms out is a falling wedge. And it broke out and it was great. So now what we have is, again, another falling wedge over in here. And the only thing that's really kind of getting me nervous is the rejections from your 50. But it looks like your volume's starting to pick back up. And it also looks like this thing is trying to test this resistance to break out. Now, I've talked on Patreon about where my targets are if it does break out, but I may actually have those on screen as we're talking. But regardless, I don't know. I feel like people are way too bearish about this. Like, there's nothing just horrible. There's nothing just horrible about this chart. You're respecting the same support line. Oh, Benny, what were you saying? My blue downward support line? Volatility says that your blue downward line is the channel. Were you talking about this guy? Volatility theory says that we can press through the year. Yeah, agreed. I think again, yeah, completely. Soy or Sean, I think that that's probable. What's going to actually happen in here is that we respect this pennant, and I think probably around, and again, a lot of people are talking about how we actually bottom out at around summer of this year. I think that that's actually a very good possibility, is that we bottom out or start reversing about halfway through the year over here. Chart this, all right? The all-time high of Bitcoin to the current bottom. The proof is every time it hit that line, it dumped. I don't think you're biased at all. Everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe to this guy. He's good. Yeah, thank you so much, my man. Oh, dark blue. All right, yeah. So let's do it. Here we go, Benny. This one's for you. Yeah, so if you guys are enjoying, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Helps out the channel a lot. If you guys want to be a further channel, or if you guys want to be a further supporter, check out the links in the description. There's ways to donate and join the Patreon, which helps support me financially. So let's do this, guy. Get my little stretch in here. Is this what you meant? Oh no. He's back, boys. Not the top wick? Alright, I was gonna say, I was like, I mean, I never chart the top wick, but it's like, yeah, we can do it. I think, were you talking about this guy? Chart this. The all-time high for Bitcoin to the current bottom. Do you mean this line? The best trader is back. Oh God, get ready, boys. He's back. He's here. He shall shill. So what did you mean, Benny? What wick did you want me to chart here? What price action? Left. This guy? Give me a price action, and I'll just put my cursor there. But I have the good news is that I have support already drawn up. Actually, what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna do it on a clean chart. $17.77. So go right in here. That lines up pretty well. And then the one thing I want to do over here is expand this guy just a tad. Trying to see. Where would be the best way to connect these two? Maybe like right here. All right, so let's just say that. Something like that. Charts don't lie, fellas. So I don't know. I would have a hard time doing something like this. It just doesn't tell me a lot of information because there's no touch points. The big thing that I would say in here, right there. So yeah, again, you could say that the resistance is good. I would say, I mean, the support just, the problem is that while you do have a touch point up in here, oops, you have a touch point up in here, and you have touch points right here, and you have a touch point which looks to be right here, and on support you have touch points in here, and in here there is everything missing from this area and everything missing from this area, which are like two of the most substantial areas, because this is everything in between. So what I would say for a better chart for Bitcoin, and this is what I'll draw up for you, is something along the lines of this. And let's draw this in here. For a better chart on Bitcoin, I would draw something up much like this. Oops. And do this. And there we go. So I would say that this is actually, again, more of a falling wedge than anything else. And that's what I see on Bitcoin. And this is just the 1 day. So let's break this down on a 4 hour. And again, I see the same thing. So again, the thing that I don't like about this, as I've said it before, there's no touch points on resistance over in here, but you have numerous amounts of touch points on resistance over in this area. So we can adjust this even further. So over in here, you have a numerous amount. Okay, so you have like 1 and 2 separate swing low touch points. You have one over in here, nearly another one over in this area. Resistance is very clear. It's pretty much the same from the descending triangle top. And I'd probably like to rearrange this just slightly. So you can keep it here, you can lower it over to here, and then just change this guy a little bit, and it'd probably be better actually to do something more like this. But no matter really how you want to draw this, it's more of a falling wedge pattern on Bitcoin. So these are really the two things that I'm looking at, support and resistance wise, as overbearing. So I would say overbearing support would be the bottom, overbearing resistance would be the top. Gosh. Best Trader says bottoms in. Bottoms in, next stop 3,900, then 4,100, then we'll blow past 5K. You're right, closer wedge. Yeah, so this is just like my thoughts on it, with like the bigger perspective on Bitcoin, is that it could very well be a falling wedge. And the thing that I like about this is that if this does break down, it'll bring us to around 27, 2,800, depending on how fast it falls. And you know, maybe even anywhere from like 26 to 2,800 would be, I would think, the official bottom of Bitcoin if it does this. And it would make a whole lot of sense, because if this falls down to around 27, 2,800, what this would allow us to do is, let's just say it kind of falls off this area and then it kind of comes down here. So again, touches around 2,700. This would make a lot of sense to me, because over here in this area, oops, it's just not, that just doesn't want to work. So over here at around 27, 2,800, what I'm looking at is all of this. So this, all this consolidation and support over here would correlate directly over here to the falling wedge support and where Bitcoin could actually bottom. So if this does have a massive breakdown, this is the area that I'm looking to. And this is something that, again, I've talked about on Patreon before. If you guys want to get technical analysis updates and learn more about technical analysis and just get more information out of it, I release all my information at Patreon before I do videos and live streams on it. So I talked about this a while ago on Patreon, probably like at least 2 weeks ago, I would imagine. And that would be a realistic bottom for me. I think that one would make plenty of sense, because of the fact falling wedge support would directly correlate to consolidation support, and then I could actually see this thing having a crazy freaking nice bounce. Like probably, you know, at least a bounce back up in here. How cool would it be if it actually came down, formed this cup and handle, breakout? Oh my god, that would be such a, oh, that would be a really clean formation. That's all I'm saying. But yeah. This is the chart that I'm using for my technical analysis course that I'm making right now, just because I don't have writing on it and I don't have to delete all of my stuff over here. I get to keep all my writing. Man. Whew. This thing's really trying to break out, I'll tell you that. One of the new things that I'm trying to learn over here is probably missing, yeah, so I'm missing some chat. Falling wedge is super bullish. I agree. 2,800, I wish. I mean, that would be a great buying point for Bitcoin if it did reach that range. If it reaches anywhere, and I've said this before, anywhere under 3,500, I'm okay with buying Bitcoin. The problem is right now with being a full-time student, the only money that I have to buy Bitcoin is from this. And YouTube pays me like 0. So, I mean, they don't pay me nothing, but they pay me like, for every couple thousand views I get like $1 or something like that. Yeah, something like that. It's like every couple thousand views is $1. Somewhere around there. Great question. If crypto goes down, then what goes up? What other markets help you speculate prices? I see patterns with oil, gold, stock markets, and index. Sorry, but bottom's here. Wish it wasn't. No, I agree. I mean, okay, no, wait. Let me say that. I don't necessarily agree. I don't know if we have enough information to know yet, but it certainly looks like... So, Best Trader, this is what I was trying to say. We're about to break the 3 days. We're about to break out 3 days. I mean, if it were to break out, I would give it like less than 3 days. I'd give it like the week. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, give it the weekend, and we'll have our answer. So, this is what I was saying, Best Trader, is that we look like we're entering a consolidation reversal phase. And that personally is what I believe Bitcoin is doing over here. And there's always the chance that it doesn't. But personally, I believe that it's entering a consolidation and reversal phase. Maybe it has one more swing low. Again, I don't think we have enough information to convey that that's going to happen yet. But it certainly looks like it's starting to slow down. And this is what we were talking about, and you'll really like this because yeah, again, go show all your friends this. So, this is our 1 week MACD, and this is one of the biggest things for me, Best Trader, is that this is one of the biggest things for me and one of the biggest evidence that we're actually coming to the end of this bear market is because upon every swing low over here, we're getting consistently lower levels of negative momentum, and we're actually rounding off pretty hard this time on our oscillators. So with our indicators all looking bullish, and not necessarily the most bullish, well, this is actually pretty bullish, but I would say more so than anything, it's actually just showing that each time you're swinging low, it's a higher swing low. Instead of being a lower low, it's actually a higher low. Each swing low. So now for 3 separate times on a weekly chart, that's huge. You have had 3 separate swing lows on a weekly chart. That's huge. And your oscillators are rounding off. So that in itself is actually a great sign that Bitcoin is getting ready to reverse its market. Now, I think it's very probable that you come back down here and have another swing low on your MACD. But personally, I think it's going to be, again, a higher low, and that this is just going to emphasize the point, and we'll probably be able to circle this guy in a little bit. So it'll probably be something around this range. So we'll wait and see, but that's, from the looks of it, what's going to happen. I know you would probably get a kick out of this. Let me read chat. Buy Bitcoin Cash. It's going under percent-wise. ZRX is about to moon. Let me see it. I get a lot of mixed comments about ZRX in my channel. That's a weekly. Your MACD looked really bearish. That actually looks really bullish, to be honest. Well, if your RSI stops here, you'll have a higher swing low, which is really freaking bullish for your RSI. So you could definitely argue. I think you could definitely argue that this is a falling wedge. Yeah, I mean, no matter how you draw this, this is a falling wedge. If you want to draw it like this, it's still a falling wedge. If you want to cut out these wicks and include this guy, it's still a falling wedge. So that's the one thing that I'm noticing. I just see one man army in here. What's up, dude? Too many believe it's going lower. That's confirmation of a bottom for me. So actually, that's a big part of the segment that we did earlier, Best Trader, is that we did a whole segment talking about how everyone and their brother is bearish on the price action of Bitcoin right now. And it's the same reverse psychology of what happened during the bull market. During the bull market, everyone was calling for 25, 40, 50K, 100K. Everyone, that was the cool thing to do. Everyone was making all these crazy Bitcoin price predictions. Now, a year later, you have the exact same situation, except you flip it for a vice versa. So instead of everyone going, it's going to be 25 or 45 or 50, you have people saying it's going to be $2,500, it's going to be $1,800 Bitcoin. You're going to have a $1,000 Bitcoin. And you have the exact same situation. And what you have is a lot of these guys who know nothing what they're talking about. A lot of them do. There are really smart people who have reason to believe that it's going to go further. And I totally understand that. But you have so many people that don't know what they're doing saying the exact opposite. And they're just throwing up things to jump onto the bandwagon. Maybe it's to get views. Maybe it's for something else. But when you look at things like the 1 week MACD on Bitcoin, and again, with some other things, it's not the worst case situation. And when you're in a falling wedge on Bitcoin and stuff, it's not. And let's go ahead and highlight that. When you're on, yo, what's up, one man army? Don't overread charts. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Completely agree, actually. That's a very, very solid point because way too many people do it. Some people will stare at a chart for 8 hours, and it will make them trade worse. It'll make them overtrade and overthink situations that are very simple. Have you peeked at VeChain? Thor is coming alive. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll take a look at VeChain right now for you, Mr. One Man Army. Great to have you in here. So yeah, I mean, again, when you see a falling wedge, and everyone's just saying that this is a horrible, bearish, you know, the floor is going to fall out situation, it's just not. Like, it's just not. Like, you look at your indicators and oscillators, and I forgot we have all this drawing on here now. When you have all your indicators and oscillators, I actually just need to delete all this. While you do have bearish divergence on your MACD, and your RSI is actually just kind of sitting a neutral bullish, this is, with the fact alone, is that there is a falling wedge. It's a very well-respected trend line, and, gee, I don't know. The last time that we saw a falling wedge, it broke out absolutely beautifully, and now all of a sudden we're seeing one and everyone's saying it's going to be $1,800 the next day. So just be careful with who you listen to. Now, I've said, you know, this does have double rejection. I'm not trading right here, but... Hey, oops. VeChain. All right, get a drink. Two days ago, nice, Randy. One Man Army says, "Good to see you, buddy." Yo, thank you so much, dude. Let's freaking all right. Let's tear up some charts here. Wow. Look at this. This thing actually played out beautifully. I don't remember who told me to chart this thing last. But, what did you say? What did you just say about it? Thor is coming alive. That's what it was. So, with this guy, I remember when we tried this guy last, I said, very clear level of bottom over in here. And this actually looks like it could be a precursor for the price action of Bitcoin. And this is doing exactly what I think, what I was talking about Bitcoin doing, is that it actually has this sideways level of consolidation for a long time until it reverses. Now, this is really, honestly, I think this is really good, because what this allows this to do is actually reach a point of consolidation and recovery so that the program and development team have time to actually work and improve on this. And it actually gives people and investors time to, both retail and non-retail, like the average people and the heavy institutions, to learn and invest into this product. Because now it's actually stable, there's plenty of time to work on it. And so when I'm looking at this, this actually looks like it could be a potential rounding bottom for VeChain. So if I was wanting to invest into VeChain at this level, the thing that I would immediately look at is the best area of value is, I mean, look at this area, dude. Just a beautiful area of support. Now, if you break this, I mean, all hell's breaking loose. But it doesn't look like this area is going to break. You know, it kind of, to be honest, it looks like VeChain's bottomed. And we talked about this. There's only been one other coin that I've looked at tonight that I've said that about. And so when I'm looking at VeChain here, if I want the best area of value, like an absolute, just like risk-free, almost risk-free, not obviously completely risk-free, but if I'm looking at this from like an easy case trade scenario, I'm saying, all right, well, if it held here and it held here and it held here, sorry, and it held here, if it comes back down to this level again, like let's say over here, I would, excuse me, I would probably long this, right? Because if it held here and it held here and it held here, and this is a sideways movement, you know, again, I would not be afraid to long this. And the reason I say that I would long this area more so than anything else is because I could set a stop loss like right here. And then maybe like I can literally set a 2 Satoshi stop loss. So let's put this at 100, like let's set your buy zone and let's just talk about this. So this is something I do on, for like customers. All right. This is something I actually do on the course and I've done with customers before. Let's set this guy. So you guys will get to have your sneak peek here. This is not wanting to work. There we go. So if you come down to this range, the reason why this would be such a good area of value is because of the fact of here's your risk versus reward. Your risk versus reward in this area is a 6.5, and the potential gain on this trade is 25.5%. So 25.5% is your potential gain for only losing at worst, at most, 3.9. So let's just say bearish case scenario, you set your stop loss at 98 Satoshis, which is anywhere probably around 2 to 3, and we can even raise this a little bit more. Let's just say that this is, you know, you have a fat entry, right? Your thing in here, you're okay with buying anywhere from 103 all the way to like 99 or 98. So this red zone represents your buying opportunity. The green represents anywhere that you'd like to sell. If you do this from top to bottom, again, still a 24.7% chance of 24.27 potential gain. Your risk versus reward ratio is still a 5, which is again still incredible, and at most you lose 4.85%. So arguably this is 5 times more profitable than it is risky. So again, and nothing I'm saying here is financial advice, but the way that this works and the way that people trade this thing is that you set your stop loss right underneath here, and maybe it breaks out. If it triggers your stop loss and this thing just falls through the floor, then you know you're safe, right? If this comes down here and let's draw it out. If this comes down here and it does something, and then it comes down into this range, and then maybe, you know, eventually it rallies back up here, and then you gain like 25%. Or maybe it comes down here, and the floor falls out, you're stopped out right in here, you lose 3 to 4% max. depending on how tight your stop loss is. All right, so you lose the 4%, but you're risking the gain, the 25%. So the way that these trades work out is that if you take this trade, if you take this trade like 10 times, and let's just say that you fail half the time that you take this trade. If you fail half the time you take this trade, you lose, what is that? Let's just say 5%, right? Your loss is 5%, 5 times 5, you lose 25%. But let's say that you win the other half. And again, that's very, very conservative. If you're losing half of your trades, that's not the best thing, right? It's not good to only win half of your trades. But let's just say in here, in the most conservative of situations, you're only winning 5 out of 10 trades. So you lose this 5 times, you lose 25%, because 5 times 5 is 25. So you lose 25% from stop losses, but then you win it the other 5 times, and then you gain around 25%. So then 25 times 5 is now like 125%. So what you do is you subtract your loss from the 5 stop losses from your gain of the 5 gains, and you'd still be in profits of around 100%. And that's at a 50% success rate. So let's just say, maybe it isn't always a 25% gain. Maybe it's like a 16. You'd still probably be, even if you cut this number in half, so let's just say you cut this number in half and you still only have about a 50% success rate, your overall gain here would still be around 50%. And that's by cutting this number in half, because you go from around 125 all the way to like 75, and then you still subtract the 25 and you still get 50% profit. So that's the way that these things work, and that's how traders work this market, one-man army, is that it's all about probability and statistics. And even, you could win this. You could come out in profit here if you're only right like 4 out of 10 times. And that's incredible. And that's why things like this are worth it. So again, nothing I said is legal, financial, or tax advice in any way, but if I was trading this for educational purposes at this range, that is why area of value and stop losses are so significant. Hopefully that was like, I don't know what the word is, intelligent, enlightening, helpful, useful. You gain knowledge out of that. Yep, huge move. Is that at the 618 fib? Oh my god. 1 minute. Okay, wait. First of all, welcome Power to Achieve. Power to Achieve is the vet, and I always welcome him whenever he comes in here. He has been the MVP who's been with me like longer than anyone else. I think you're actually the longest. Power to Achieve, I literally think that you are the oldest member in my community. VeChain and Pundi X are about to explode. And pull 2017 December TRX pump. Yeah, so let me talk about this. I don't want to talk about it too much, but in my Patreon, I was just talking about... No, I didn't. I actually forgot to do this. Oh my god, I'm glad I brought this up. Well, now you guys get to hear it because I forgot. But in my Patreon, I was supposed to talk about Pundi. I mentioned it a little bit. So I mentioned it in my Patreon, and I talked about why I'm purchasing Pundi, and I added it to like my number 3 spot on cryptocurrency. I think it goes like... What is my... Where is it? Yeah, so right now, I was going through the top 10 coins that I'm holding, basically my top 10 coins in my portfolio, and the ones that I'm purchasing right now. And the number 3 spot on the list is now Pundi. Now, I'm not going to reveal the whole list because that's something for my Patreon, but the number 3 spot on my list, and it took it by storm, is Pundi. I recently purchased Pundi, so let that be known. Maybe I'm biased, maybe I'm not. I personally think it's a great project either way, but Pundi is something that I am very bullish on. I actually shared a link to a YouTube... Ooh, this thing's moving. I actually shared a link to a YouTube video about Pundi in the Discord not too long ago. So if you guys want to join the Discord, it's basically a bunch of people like me, crypto traders, crypto people who talk about crypto stuff. We have a Discord in the description down below. It's a free thing to join. There's literally no strings attached. You can join. You might have to create an account through Discord, but that's about it. But it's cool. If you want to check that out, free link in the description down below. It's really cool. It's just like, it's basically our community and where we reside. Yeah, no, but Power to Achieve, I agree with you. It's a really great project. And I think that they have an absolute ton. Let's look at them real fast. Where are they over here? What's their Satoshi value? So they're around 17, 18 Satoshis right now. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just such a good price, to be honest. If it goes back down towards like 12 to 15 Satoshis, I'll load up a whole bunch more. So the funny thing about this is that I actually sold all of my Ethereum for Pundy. So I actually did. I sold all of my Ethereum, most of my Ethereum, not all of it. I sold a good chunk of it for Pundy, and I'm still in profits right now. So Pundy has made me more profits in the last year than Ethereum has. I was up 31% last time I checked. Power to Achieve says it's a pleasure listening to you. You know, it's my pleasure to have you. Such a loyal dude. I appreciate it. One Man Army's been a while too. One Man Army's probably been with me for like 6 months. I think he jumps between me and Mitch a good amount. And I know Poker Throw, I don't know if he's in here, but he's been with me for a while, and so is Soy. Or Sean. Ark, oh wow, that's a hard name to say. Shan says, have we bottomed? I think that's a hard question to answer, and I think in all honesty, we don't have enough information in this area to convey whether or not we have bottomed. I think certainly we are approaching the area that we are going to start reversing. We're very close to it, in my opinion, but I don't know. I can't really say whether or not we have bottomed yet. Now, on some of these altcoins that we've looked at, I think VeChain is one of them. You can certainly say that I personally think VeChain has bottomed. And if it hasn't, it's going to absolutely tank through the roof if it breaks that support. Or tank through the floor if it breaks that support. But VeChain looks like, realistically, it looks like it has bottomed. And Bitcoin, on the other hand, you can't really say that for. I don't think that there's enough information to convey. But something that I will show you, and this is something that I've showed like 2 or 3 times tonight, is that this. And all this is the weekly MACD for Bitcoin. And all this is saying is that upon each swing low on your MACD, you're getting lower levels of negative momentum each time you're swinging low. Now again, I have to say this a lot because it's like part of the disclaimer, but nothing I say is financial advice. Again, I know it's annoying how much I have to say it, but I have to say it a lot. Nothing I say is, but with this swinging each time to a lower swing low, what this is telling me is that there's lower levels of negative momentum coming from the bears, and that the bears are essentially just running out of juice, and this thing's looking to have a market reversal. And I think your weekly is, again, your best sign of that. If you look at things like your RSI as well, you're getting good signs. Your oscillators are rounding off. This is not like this. Everyone's making this out to be like the death sentence of Bitcoin, and your oscillators and your indicators and like price action wise and consolidation, like the way that you're looking at these charts, I'm just not getting those readings. Maybe it's because I really like cryptocurrency, but I feel like looking at this unbiasedly, it's hard to say that like this is just it. This is the end of Bitcoin. Like I don't know how you can say that unbiasedly. Oh, I remember this. I remember that. Ooh. Over on in here. Yeah, I mean, this thing's so neutral at the moment. It's a bullish neutral. It's a neutral bullish, though. So that's not the worst case. One man army, longer, dude, since way before HOC. Were you really? Wait, one man army, were you with me before HOC? Were you actually? No way. Vet 2. Let's check it out. All I remember, I guess you have. I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but for the longest time, I thought that you found me through Mitch. Because all I would remember is Mitch going, one man army dude. One man army dude. And that's not meant to be mean, but like I just remember like whenever you would come in, he'd always go, "It's one man army, dude." I remember hearing that all the time, and I don't know why. I guess it kind of engraved into my mind that Mitch, I don't know, that I got you from Mitch, but I didn't know that I brought you to Mitch. Interesting. I don't know. I guess I just got so used to it because he was the one live streaming and I wasn't live streaming anymore. But now I can live stream on my. Now I can do my own thing. 34. Vet 2. $3,400. I don't know. Maybe. But I would say, so maybe this is your US dollar. The thing on vet that I was talking about is your Satoshi value. Your Satoshi value looks freaking amazing. So tethered to Bitcoin, this thing looks like at the bottom. Tethered to the US dollar is another story. So yeah, again, so on Bitcoin it looks really good. On the US dollar it doesn't look nearly as good, but lol. I told you I wanted to see you back at your house. Yeah, I know. And I got a lot of comments saying that I needed to leave HOC, and I did. Probably at the wrong time, but it was a shame, dude. They were really nice guys. They really were. People hated them. They were really good to me the whole time. Where did I get this line from? But yeah, I don't know. They were always nice to me. They were more than nice to me. Those guys like spoiled me over there. So it was good and bad. It was good and bad that I guess I left, but good because I think I'm way better off on my own in the long run, and I'm able to just do my own thing. But it was nice because they paid me well, and they would always send me like free stuff. They were always super nice, super kind. They were the ones who sent me the green screen. They sent me a bunch of lighting. They bought me a bunch of equipment. They got me a boom arm for my mic. Like anything that I needed, they would just literally buy for me. They were super, super generous guys. And they wouldn't even like be like it's out of your paycheck. They would just be like, "No, it's on us." Anyway, generous guys. You got to reminisce on the past a little bit. Am I right? But I digress. So, yeah, okay, I guess before I go into this, let me know where you guys are from. Take a little bit of intermission here, because we need a little bit of chance for Bitcoin to move. Let's go ahead and throw the Bollinger Bands back up. So originally, when I was looking at this, yeah, so let me know, guys, comment where you guys are from, where you guys are listening to right now. I know we said we had people from Australia and the West Coast, and we got people from a little bit of everywhere. And yeah, we'll do that, and then because I want to talk about something on Bitcoin here, revolving the Bollinger Bands and the 50 EMA. Benny's from New York City. Great to have you from NYC. I have a friend up there right now. BTC buyers from Texas. Yeah, they were initially a great launchpad. Yeah, they were. They made some poor decisions. They made some really good ones too. I have a bunch of things that I'm getting messaged about right now. I just got drunked message on Discord, and it was one of the funniest things I've read all night. Yeah, California. Oh shoot, I've always wanted to go to California. So the thing that I want to talk about here on Bitcoin with the Bollinger Bands is the fact that you are getting rejected from your 50 EMA, but you're also getting rejected from the top of your Bollinger Band area over here. So if I'm looking at this, obviously not the strongest, so maybe if you're like super short-term trading this, slightly bearish, but I want to, oh shoot, our new 4-hour candle just opened up as well. Huh. It's just a baby right now. There's really no movement in it, but so yeah, I guess, I mean, we have a new 4-hour candle that we can watch here, see what it's going to do. And I hate looking at things on that small of a time scale because it's just so insignificant. Like, the price action in here is so small. Something I was talking about in Discord the other day is that it's sad that I get satisfied when this moves from you know, 35.75 to 33.55. When I get like a $150 move and I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied. Like, that should never be the case. I should not be satisfied. Like, but that's just the way that this goes now. Is that price action small? So, I don't know. We really don't have too much else to talk about, to be honest. This candle just started 3 hours, you know, 15 minutes ago, actually. Yo, BTC buyer, what's up? Welcome. Great to have you in here, my dude. I don't know. There's really not too much else to talk about. Something that I might do tonight is I need to keep filming episodes for the course. I'm really trying to get that done by mid-February, and that'll be really cool. Oh, you know what I'll do? You know what I'll do is I'll do a giveaway. Once I get the course done and ready, I'll do a giveaway. So for those of you guys who don't know, I'm making a technical analysis course. It's been very requested for months now. And a lot of people have been wanting to see it. And I said, you know, eventually I said, all right, screw it, I'll make one. But if I do it, I'm going to do it right. Because I want people that come in and take this thing, I want it to be a one and all, one and done. If you have never looked at a chart before, or if you're, you know, a half decent trader, I want you to come into this course and revolutionize the way that you trade, and for you to say, that was worth the money I spent. I don't want it to be this crap course that people are going, I wish I didn't spend money on it. Like, I want this to actually be something that's good, and when people come in and use this thing, it's actually going to be something like they were like, wow, coming out of this, I have a lot of my questions answered and things are clarified. So that's the goal of this. So when the course is done, I didn't even think about this till right now, but when the course is done, what I'm going to try to do is do like a giveaway. Maybe I'll give away just like a course to one person. Maybe it'll be to like 3 people or something. I don't know. But I think that'll be cool because then I actually have things that I can give away. Because I can't necessarily give away monetary gifts because of the fact that, again, I'm a full-time college student and, you know, it takes a lot of money to be in college. But course can be actually a really good thing to give away. I'm actually going to do that. Anyway, what do you guys think about that idea? What you should do is buy hot holochain before it takes off. Why is everyone coming in here and telling me? I've never seen so many holochain. When did holochain come out? Hold up. Why is there so many shillers out of it right now? This thing's been out for forever. This thing has been out since almost a year. Jeez. Oh no, it came out in April. Never mind. So you're telling me? I mean, why now? Why are we getting all the shillers now? He goes, no, I was first. Yo, Ferris, there's been a lot of, and I'm obviously just kidding, Ferris. I'm not like actually mad that you're like shilling something. I just think it's funny because you probably don't know it. Because, oh yeah, so you probably don't know it, but there's been like, you're like the third or fourth person to come in here this live stream and be like, you guys need to buy Holochain, it's about to take off. It's just kind of funny. It's ironic to me, more so than anything else. So yeah, I mean, oh, you know what I need to do as well? Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. I gotta go to my second monitor. I need to log in to make sure I'm not missing like subs and stuff. Because when people subscribe, I should get a notification for it, but I'm like totally not watching my monitor. All right, perfect, actually. So, I don't think I missed any subs or anything. Perfect. I mean, that's good and bad. I guess it's bad because... Technically, it's bad because I didn't get any subs during the live stream, but good because I didn't miss anyone. Remember I told you older than BTC? Do you remember when I kept telling I bought Pundy at 9 sats and how it's... Yeah, so Ferris, I don't think you know. I think you just joined so you missed it. But I was talking about how I'm actually really bullish on Pundy now. I'm now a proud Pundy owner, Ferris. Ferris would be proud of me because I bought... You're wow, so you tripled your... No, you probably... I mean, you more than doubled your money. That's for sure. Jeez. Yeah, no, I looked into Pundy, and I actually really like it. Okay, so now we have Bitcoin moving a little bit. So yeah, I sold my Ethereum and bought Pundy. That's essentially what happened. So I didn't inject any new money. I just sold my Ethereum because screw it. I just don't care enough. I don't care about enough, or I don't care about Ethereum enough to hold it over Pundy. I sold it. I sold it 7, almost at a 46 sats. Oh, I sold it 7x. Okay. Yo, gotta run. Thanks for your stream, Brendan. Good stuff. Yo, thank you so much, Randy. We're actually about to round this up as well. But before we end this, if you guys did enjoy, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does about the channel a lot. And I want to advertise and shill something for you guys. Oh no. No. Dadgummit. Alright, well, now you guys get to do this. You guys get to see this go on because apparently Patreon's down right now. So I can't give you guys the thing. But this is my time. If you guys did enjoy, hit the like button, give me a comment. And if you guys want to learn more about... wow, this looks really ugly. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys want to learn more about cryptocurrency and get Bitcoin updates and learn about technical analysis, get stuff like this, then join the Patreon. There's 2 tiers to it. There's one that essentially allows you guys to vote every 2 weeks on what kind of a video I make. You guys literally make the topic and then vote on the topics, and whatever you guys come up with, I got to make a video on. It's really cool. It's $2 a month. I figure it's fairly cheap. And the other tier is actually where I can't show you, dang. So the other one is the tier 1. It doesn't drop down over here, but essentially you get my insight on what's happening in the market. I do Bitcoin updates. I do some like altcoin updates. I give targets of where I expect Bitcoin to go up and down, whether I'm bullish or bearish. I teach technical analysis in it as well. It's really cool. And another big part of it is that I actually critique your charts with you. So what I do is, and I've done this, I don't think Poker is in here, but it's something that I've done with him a lot. He goes, no shilling. This is my channel. I can shill my Patreon, especially when I'm finished. But if you guys want to support my channel and also get some value out of it, all the information that I convey is posted on my Patreon first, and then it's given to you guys as a channel second. So what I do is I usually do it in write-ups. I do write-ups on my Patreon first, and then probably about a couple hours or a couple days later, I do a video on it on YouTube, or I post about it in Discord, something along those lines. So if you guys want a way to financially support me and also get some value out of it, that's the Patreon. Link for that will be in the description down below. They're currently offline though. And Bitcoin's moving down. We have a red 4-hour candle at the start. Hot as a baby beast. Oh, you said no shilling. No, I was talking about hot. You can shill at your own channel. That's what I'm saying. But I do it at the end of the video because I can, I don't know, maybe I'll start doing it at the beginning. But the way I look at it is if I do technical analysis for, how long has this been? 2 hours. So if I do 2 hours of TA and I don't do anything at all, at the end of it, oh my God. Okay, so we're going to have to test something out here in a second. But anyway, regardless of my ADD-ness, at the end of it, I think I should be able to advertise my own program. But I want to test something out here. So apparently, there's a button that I have. Anyway, guys, so we're going to be ending the live stream soon, but I want to test this out real fast. Hold on. Huh. I wonder, did that play an ad? Playing an ad. Complex criteria of some of your viewers will see an ad. No way. Did it actually, though? Did that just play an ad? That's so weird. Why is there an ad button on, Anyway, regardless, there we go. I was talking about, I'm not sure. Yeah, I know, Ferris. I'm just messing with you, my dude. It's no big deal. Everyone's market about the dump, wedging slightly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's really not much else to say over here. It's a red start to the 4-hour candle. You get double rejection from your 50 EMA and Bollinger Band, which is bearish, but it's a falling wedge, which is bullish. Ideally, I would scalp that, but I'm streaming, so I can't. But we're about to hop off the stream anyway. So I do appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button. It means a lot. If you guys want to join the Discord, there's tons of people in there who are literally talking about trading all the time. There's like me and Sean and who else? I think Randy. There's a bunch of us in there. If you guys are a trader or even just enjoy learning about cryptocurrency and trading, join the Discord. It's 100% free. It's literally where the community of this channel resides, and I think it's an ultra cool atmosphere. So link for that will be in the description down below. Appreciate you guys watching tonight. Each time Bitcoin gets near that red line, I agree with you. But I appreciate you guys watching. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.